Chapter 49 is the first time we see Oda hyping up future events. It's when Mihawk appears, a character that eclipses in power everyone else. He shows off how amazing he is, and then leaves without doing his job, which is defeating pirates who enter the Red Line. This event made the reader to anticipate another encounter, and to see if Zoro can defeat him in a rematch. Superficially, this is a good thing, since the reader is given something to look forward to. In practice, though, it takes away the importance of present events. Don Krieg was the villain of the arc, and he got eclipsed by a guy who came in, showed off, and then disappeared.
You're always questioning what's gonna happen next.
Basically, Mihawk stole the thunder from Don Krieg and made the whole arc to feel like a prelude of things to come instead of letting what is happening now to be important by itself. A lot of fanboys will consider this to be nitpicking, since they are convinced everything in One Piece is connected. Therefore, showing a character that will reappear hundreds of chapters later is a sign of good writing, even if he is way more powerful than the current characters. That way, he didn't pop into existence in the arc he was relevant, he was introduced way earlier, so the reader will not think he didn't exist up until that moment.
Revealing new kingdoms, wonder about what is next for some kingdoms.
On paper, that is correct, and Oda would get away with it if he had pre-planned everything in the plot, which he didn't. He has openly admitted that the Senchibukai and the Yonko are characters he added along the way for building up the hype of things to come. They didn't exist initially, he created them, so the audience will have something to anticipate. And he even doubled down on that, since Mihawk was the only one who was revealed to the audience in the next chapter after he was mentioned. We see him and we know what he is capable of right away.
So many theories and speculations throughout the years.
Most of the other characters that will be mentioned will not be shown for a very long time. They will be nothing more than a black silhouette, so the audience can theorycraft all they want about them. Meanwhile, Oda didn't bother much with them, since he didn't actually thought about how they look or what powers they have. He just hyped them up and stopped there until the proper time comes. Meaning, he deliberately devalued the events that happen now for inflating the value of events that haven't happened yet, and which normally would never have happened, because they concern characters that were not thought out and were nothing more than a freaking black silhouette.
And I just can't wait to finally get to see more.
The Senchibukai and the Yonko didn't exist initially. This gimmick is an artificial addition for making you care more about what's coming than what's happening now. That's why everyone is now theory crafting about what will happen next. They don't care about the present. It has been devalued so much, it feels like a drop in the ocean compared to what is to come. And what is to come is not pre-planned, because those characters don't exist beyond having a name and a title. And that's why Oda is not a genius.
It just boggles my mind now. What could he have been working on?
As someone who was following One Piece from the very beginning, I was expecting a new crew member every time Luffy leaves an island. It was proof of something being added on the ship, instead of treating the whole arc as filler. If the Straw Hats can't get any character development so soon, then they might as well increase in numbers, so the adventure they just had wouldn't be a waste of time, since they definitely didn't learn anything from it. This was the case throughout the East Blue Saga, and I was fine with it. But as soon as they entered the Red Line, it wasn't as consistent. Many islands weren't adding new crew members, so they were coming off as filler. But that is not what the fanboys will let you think, since they will insist every island is introducing elements which will be revisited later on. The Reverse Mountain, for example, is where we first hear about Laugh Tale. Skypiea is the first time we hear about poneglyphs. All these are very important world-building elements that will not be forgotten. The Straw Hats will deal with them eventually, therefore no island feels like filler. And now we are 25 years in the future. They still haven't gone to Laugh Tale, and they still haven't found all the poneglyphs.
What if they have incorporated some of, Dr. Vegapunk's weapons or technology inside of the walls or whatever, or the cannons?
I, someone who has been following One Piece since the very beginning, am supposed to be pleased with promises of things that won't happen for the next 25 years of my life instead of getting a new crew member now, so I won't feel like I wasted my time watching the whole arc? I am sure the fanboys are not watching it for immediate rewards, since the present has no value to them. What comes next is what's important, and the amount of theory crafting they will be making for 25 years of their life is clearly a bigger reward than something they will get now.
We get a little bit of the character's personality, kind of how they look slightly from the silhouette that we got to see.
As someone who was enjoying One Piece for what it was giving me now, and not as someone who will be theorizing what will happen after 25 years of my life in a fictional show for kids, I find this mentality completely absurd.
What if he was like a flower?
Flower symbolism.
And that's why he's called green.
Can you imagine telling someone that no progress was made after 100 chapters? But at least you were given a few black silhouettes and few name drops, so you can imagine anything you like about them for the next 25 years of your life? Yeah, that's a worthwhile time investment that won't make a lot of people to drop it for more immediate rewards.
If you have a character who you have deliberately gone out of your way to make the least suspicious, then it takes that much extra work to make that reveal satisfying. Because mysteries are not easy to write, they are so difficult. And the more mysteries you consume, the harder it is to be fooled by subsequent mysteries. This mystery aspect is where York absolutely excels. Right before York comes out of the darkness, the One Piece narrator, the mysterious narrator, has a monologue. The resolution of this incident the following day would inflict a kind of shock that the world never saw coming. And it's after that line that York emerges, which is extremely powerful because York, she is riding right on that hype created by the narrator. And it gives the impression that York is going to be a dark central figure in these shocking events, which she wouldn't really be. Contextually, this is one of the most powerful and memorable moments of Egghead Island. And after the full story is revealed, maybe not so much, the reveal and the motivation are where I unfortunately think that York peaked. As after her reveal, we receive a mid-arc time skip. After we return from this time skip, York has already been defeated, and she spends the remainder of the arc in a state of stagnation. I love the ideas that York poses, they're very fun to think about, but also this is a shonen manga. And the antagonist is always going to lose points if they don't do a lot of, antagonistic things that we get to see. The mystery leading up to York was fantastic. The ideas behind her were brilliant, but for the part where she actually had to serve as a villain, the part that was almost completely skipped, we just don't have anything to rank.